I will call the meeting to order. Note, this meeting is being televised, streamed, or recorded by Bourne TV. If anyone in the audience is recording or videotaping, they need to acknowledge such at this time. I don't see anyone. Please refrain from using any flash photography. Everybody here. And all items on this meeting agenda are subject to deliberation and votes. And we are in open session. All right. All right. We're all walking in the door right at 3. This is good. All right. So I got my sheet here. All right. So we're here today for our workshop to discuss our annual goals, to focus on the guides in the select board's work in accordance with section 3 of our -3 of our charter. I will read it. The select board shall serve as the chief goal-setting and policy-making agency of the town, keeping in mind the goals, policies, and action items of the strategic plan and local comprehensive plan, or LCP, and shall appoint a town administrator to carry out such policies. Annual goals as voted by the select board shall be filed with the town administrator no later than September 1 after the regular spring town election and shall be published in the annual town report. So with that said, I guess we will start. This is my first time, actually, other than our meeting where we had a moderator there doing a workshop. So I guess I will take some support on where we need to start. Pull up my report. Sorry, I just walked in the door myself.
All right.
And so where do we generally start here, Marlene? I know this is, we look through I'm sure everybody's had time to review the goals from last year, and
we can start anywhere board members would like.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something, Jean?
I don't know if somebody wants to start first or how.
So the select board retreat, so what we got in our packet
Yep,
was some of the things that had already been discussed at the select board retreat.
Yeah.
Okay. And were these, if I may ask, Jean, sorry for interrupting. I thought you were going to talk. Okay. So were these were the focused areas that were already sort of agreed upon? Or how did this come into being?
At about 2:15, we hadn't discussed goals, so she
Yes,
said,
we had.
we were supposed to have start discussing goals, so does anybody have any ideas? And we threw out some ideas, and they wrote them down, and we were done at 2:30.
Okay.
So there really wasn't any discussion.
No.
on these. It was just kind of a mini brainstorming where
Okay.
we didn't really have any, it was just like, what do you think?
Yeah, I didn't print any of my things because my printer was not working. So let me pull up the email from Marlene, and we had our goals from last year that we were all able to review. I know everyone was able to, I'm sure, review the report from our retreat that was sent out to everyone. But I think we had discussed our goals, and they're on here as you have them. We had our wastewater planning we talked about, capital planning and prioritization, and the final marijuana policy, and then a communications policy. We didn't know what that looked like. I know that was part of our discussion, and we didn't, we thought it was important as part of the goals moving forward. So now we have to decide where we want to start. I mean, I guess I would want to go around and listen to the board and see what everyone's thoughts are, what your priorities are, what you think our priorities should be, and then we can kind of hone in from there. As I said, this is my first meeting, so feel free to help me out here if you feel like I'm missing something, or if there's somewhere we should be beginning that I'm not. So.
Which end of the room? Do you have a list?
I do have a
I
list.
figured, I know. I knew MJ's always prepared, so, I'm very happy to start with you, MJ, and then let's move around and.
All right, so I thought about this in 2 ways. One is the goals for the town administrator.
Yes.
And the other is goals for the select board, because I think they're different. And the charter says that we're going to set the goals for the town administrator by September 1st. And I do think we have to kind of review the goals from last year to see if they need to be adjusted or changed. But I came up with some things that I think are priorities from a strategic area for the town administrator. One is the police department roof, HVAC, and other issues. That didn't go well at town meeting, so I think we need to present a plan and justification for the capital spending related to that roof replacement. We need to gain approval of the funding by the special town meeting in the fall of 2025. And we need to complete the capital project for roof replacement. So that is one of my priorities for the town administrator to implement in the next, to get that kind of done in the next year. My sort of second major priority is, and I had 12, but I kind of picked out sort of like 3 or that are, I think are the priorities. Implementation and a capital plan for the Windows 10 sunset in October of 2025. So Windows 10 will not be supported anymore, and so most corporations, and especially ones that handle sensitive information, are making sure that the Windows 10 computers are replaced. So all of our I don't know about anybody else, but my laptop that I have for a select board is a Windows 10, and I don't know how many other ones there are within the system of the town, but I think that's important to address. And then this is sort of divided up into two sort of I would want to combine into one. One, and we've had this on the list for a while, is capital planning. I feel that the capital plan needs to be a huge focus this year. I think the FY27 5-year capital plan, and not just the 1-year capital plan where we get, this is what we're going to do this year, but really the 5-year capital plan with estimated costs for all projects on the plan, and prioritization and explanation of the need for the projects. And so, and not just the current year, along with a long-term plan, including funding and debt management projections for all the items on the capital plan. Because we're adding, and you know, if you read bond rating, they were concerned about the level of debt. So we have to think about the debt that we're bringing on, and even the ISWIM debt, although it's funded by ISWIM, it is an obligation of the town, and it's counted in our debt because we're responsible if they can't pay. So those are my priorities. I had some other things that I think are important, but I'll just stick with those things. For the select board, I had some things like the old police station facility disposal. For the select board, the social media policy and reviewing procedures regarding the vice chair. Third is sort of finalizing our wastewater recommended plan and direction. That's really a policy decision that the select board has to make before the town administrator can start working on implementation in the watershed permits. And then also marijuana licensing, deciding on the social equity applications and following up on the HCA's that are in process. So those are select board goals, but those are different for me than the town administrator goals.
So you said social policy.
Social media policy.
Policy, okay.
And that includes communication, really. I mean, because the social media question is a communications question.
Okay.
How do we want to communicate with the public? And I didn't see that webinar today that I wished I had seen.
I
but
did.
Yeah.
I know, drowning in
But I do think that strategic communication plan is really key. And part of that might be a social media policy, but that's a detail under that
And
communications
then, did you say
plan.
watershed?
Wastewater planning?
Wastewater planning, okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, I have a view that we have to make some policy decisions, and then we have to start implementing some of those policy. Give direction to the town administrator so that she knows what she's supposed to be doing. But that's a policy decision before she can start actually working on it, I think. Those are my-
Right. Dean or Anne Marie want to kind of take on next? I mean, I think we're all kind of thinking in the same, a lot of us are thinking on the same thing, it's just how we're seeing them, I do believe, so.
Right.
Right.
And I think it's our goals, the way I read the charter is, I don't think it's our goals and town administrator goals. I think it's our goals and we direct the town administrator to implement the goals. That's how I read it. I think there's some operational things that are in motion that, just are already in motion, right? Like, the marijuana, I mean, that's kind of already in motion. I don't know that we need, that's a goal, but it's already in motion.
Yeah, but the goal is to actually get it completed. Like, you have goals and you have, you know, there should be, you know, what does it look like when it's done?
Right, and I don't disagree with that, and I think we're almost there, though, but those wheels are already in motion.
Motion, they're already in
They're
the
already
TA's office.
They're already at the TA's office, right? So we made decisions, I don't know,
But then
I don't see it
is
more
that a
as a-
priority for us to complete, or is something else gonna be a priority? When we're like sitting down, figuring out what we're gonna put in front of us on an agenda, what are the goal things that are the things that we're really gonna focus on?
right, and I think wastewater planning is a huge one.
Yep.
Right?
It's my big one.
Yeah, and I agree with the capital planning and prioritizing that and having an understanding of how much things cost, so we can fully make the public aware of this is what it costs now, and in order to figure that out, in order to make good fiscal, good capital decisions on how to spend money and capital planning, that's a great goal. That's something we need to do. And the communication piece, yeah, I mean, we've gone back and forth a little bit with our communication policies, so I think to revisit that and to incorporate something along the lines of the social media and just how we handle that, right? The other thing too, the police station roof, I mean, if we're looking at the capital, you want to look at the capital planning chart and the finances, I think we should also prioritize what we're going to tackle with capital and how do we get there, like making it, like the roof, right? Like the police station roof. We have to get that resolved. And we need to drive that so that, we can get that going at town meeting and get it passed and get that, because there is also the other piece of that with, legal piece of it too.
Sure.
So I know that consumes a lot of the town administrator's time troubleshooting that roof. So I don't disagree there at all with any of them. Yeah. I just think they're all our goals. Which ones did you say, I'm sorry, that you thought were town administrators or should be?
She had capital project,
I
police
said the
department
police station
roof.
roof, the
capital
capital plan,
project,
the
and-
Windows 10 sunset,
Yeah, and then
and
wastewater.
sort of then the whole long-term plan along with the debt management. So those are things that we should communicate to the town administrator, that those are things that we really want to have her focus on and accomplish. The other things, when we've talked about this in the past, like the old police station facility disposal, it's kind of already in our bailiwick, because we've said either they're gonna do it or or it's gonna go to auction.
Right.
But that was, in a prior retreat, something that the town administrator said, that's your goal, that's not my goal. You know, it's not like it's not she's gonna manage this whole thing. And I actually, just as kind of an aside, I think that lot should be part of that, the
multifamily.
the multifamily
new
MOD.
MBTA,
Because when you
yeah.
look at that section of Main Street, it's all homes there. That would be a really tremendous use. and
Instead of
help
the
the
mixed
housing
use.
people, if we made that, you know, sort of cut that out. Yes, it's not gonna have retail, but retail, when you think about where that is, it's really in a home section.
But,
But just that lot.
but that, see,
But
those,
that, you can do that with an
for
MOD.
me, that goal,
Yeah,
it's already in motion.
yes.
So I
a
consider
plan.
that, in my mind, I consider that operational. You know, I think it's an operational thing. But I understand, like, you want to be able to check it off the list. I think it's already, it doesn't mean that, because it's in motion, it will naturally come onto an agenda. It will, because 6 months from now, we're gonna need them to come back.
And then we can have a more in-depth discussion. Last night was a long meeting about, you know, questions about how they arrived there. You know, a former planning board member, I'm sure they looked at layers of maps, and there's strong housing proponents that would look at that as an option, but I believe part of it was driven by the floodplain and those other things. So, you know, we
They
don't
said
need
the
to,
retail
we don't need
first
to
floor
do
thing
what
on
they
Main
did,
Street,
you
that
know?
was
Yeah.
particularly what she said.
Yeah.
And
But-
I can see that, but that lot kind of strikes me as just, I was gonna
Just do
drive,
multifamily, be done with it.
Yeah, I have faith that they had a in-depth discussion to come to this conclusion, because that's a,
But those things naturally will come back to us.
exactly.
So I consider those operational things that are just going to come back to us, and we address them as they come back to us. I think the focused goals should be, you know, the police station roof, the capital plan priorities, the wastewater planning, and the communication piece. I think those are big select board goals that we can ourselves set some policy around, and at the same time direct the town administrator to help, you know, to achieve the select board's goals. That's how I see it. The other ones I just see as they're just going to naturally come back. You know, they're just gonna come back. Oh, the police station's gonna come back. The, you know, zoning and things like that. Those things are naturally gonna come back to us. So the wheels are in motion for that. So when I thought of like goals, I thought of the big ticket items that some of them will be multi-year, obviously, but what can we do, like wastewater planning, capital planning, those are multi-year goals, but also what do we do this year for that goal, right? We know wastewater is so what do we need to do this year? And based on like the schedule we have for NOIs, there's some things that I think maybe take 2 steps for wastewater planning as a goal for this year. Like, you know, we have to consult consultants, we have to secure engineers, we have to, like, you know, those are big for wastewater planning. And trying to navigate the watershed permits in that first year. But I think the first thing we should do is to get those pieces in place.
I think the first thing we have to do is decide what our recommended direct plan is. Are we gonna stick with IA systems as our recommended plan, or are we gonna look at sewering? And I think we have to have a discussion about that.
Well, right, but I think securing consultants and engineers to give us some guidance on that is important too,
First, yeah. Jean, go
you
ahead.
know?
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Monopolizing the conversation.
No, we'll have to talk and discuss, it's okay. So goals are pretty similar. One of my stronger things that I think we need to have better communications with the state. with DOT, with all these projects going on. I think we need to have a meeting, perhaps quarterly, find a liaison, someone that can come to us and help us find answers instead of looking to all these different groups and mass housing and everything to see what their take on what's happening is, and then we get one story, and we can work with them on that.
So in all aspects, you think, of how it impacts the town?
Absolutely. I mean, these are huge projects, but they're going to hit us all at once. You know, we're going to get squeezed from the bridge to the shore with this bike path stuff, and everybody is kind of, it's all moving parts, but we need to be more at the table and present, and I think if we have someone who's a more direct line of communication, Louisa, and I said at the MC3 meeting, did a great job at Sandwich with the presentation, you know, someone like that can give us a clear way of communicating, and more than once a year, or when they're ready for an open house for the entire town.
After they made all the decisions.
After they made the decisions, right, yeah. So another one, yes, capital planning, police station roof, perhaps meeting to form a building committee, get an OPM, and get that fixed. We need to get the roof fixed. And then, yes, capital planning, maintenance, and everything we need to face. Watershed permits, define the projects, you know, hire consultants and a team, decide, you know, discontinue the CWMP, address the permits until the permit's been approved, and then move on with what we're going to do with wastewater from then on.
Right.
And then I would like to see a cultural district for Bourne. I would like to see that on, the canal divides us, but it unites us, and I think on Buzzards Bay on the shore and on the south side as well, the fishing and the community that is there, you know, there's some way we've got to bring everyone together and provide opportunity for the historic, our buildings, and people that can also have, communities can have better access to grants and monies too, and see if we can really use that for Bourne to drive some commerce to downtown and our canal.
Yeah.
Communications policy, yes. I did attend that meeting. That was a blitz. There's some good strategy for policy, some ideas that I did, and actually one of the presenters was from Nantucket. They have a communications person out there that did the class. So, and especially for some guidelines for select board members too, with how to, or some guidelines, policies with who is going to be doing posting, you know, a format for consistency. You know, they spoke about today, not necessarily a battle over who's going to do the branding and the marketing and be the mouth, you know, like be the brand representative for the town, but working together so we're all on the same page when things are posted, just to avoid conflicts and issues later. So, good stuff there. Then small things, town meeting, how we sponsor the articles, the finance committee and the select board. I think there's, it's a little difficult, our policy that we have now, procedure that we have now. And lastly, one of those things that's in progress, as you say, it's already kind of in motion, but the town seal. I think that can kind of go hand in hand with the cultural district as well. And that's the long list.
Well, I think I'll just kind of pick up where you all left off. And I mean, you generally, you know, when you're the last one to go, a lot of what you wanted to say was said. I think, you know, I agree with all of you on many of the things that you're saying here. I think our capital project planning is important, very critical as part of our goals. The wastewater planning, I almost think, should be really the priority, because there's so many unknowns that are related to that. And as MJ said, we still have to figure out, you know, what are we going to do? Are we going to sewer? Are we going to do IA? I mean, there's a lot to think about. And it makes me nervous, you know, because as I said, it's a lot of technical information that we really need the answers for before we just jump to conclusions and just say we want to do this or that. So that is a big deal for me. Again, I agree with Anne Marie on some of these projects, you know, that are sort of already underway. Of course, we want that police department roof fixed. that was a shocker to me at town meeting. You know, I thought that was something that would just get passed. Like, I was shocked it didn't go, to be honest, right? So, so hopefully that is something, that is a priority, but I feel like it's already in the town administrator's wheelhouse. They're already working on that, and it's going to come back. Same with the cannabis. I think we're already working on that. It's already there. We've done well. We've got stores that are coming up. We've got our HCA coming up for our social equity candidate. I mean, I think we're moving along well there, and I think the town administrator's office sort of has that. The social media policy, I couldn't agree more. I think it's the communication policy in general. I think, and, you know, I struggle with this in my other role. It's, you know, communication and how we are seen in public is important. And we may not all agree on the way we do things or how things are said or what they are supposed to be, but I think we all agree that our image and the way people see us in the outside is important. And it's real easy for things to get exacerbated on social media and really put out of context, you know, but it gives place for us, our select board members to be attacked verbally for things that we probably don't even deserve in many cases. And I just feel like if we have, not just for social media, but just in general, you know, how we act in public, how do we handle the press when somebody contacts us? How do we handle a specific question where it should be, you know, the whole board should be able to give their opinion on it? I think those things are critical to the town. And I know, you know, we always say, oh, nobody cares what you think about me, or, you know, and, you know, but our reputation, we are the face of Bourne, and if we're not on the same page and we're not communicating well, it shows in our meetings. So, as it does in my other role, you know, it's evident when things aren't, you know, that way. So I hope to see some sort of a policy that's fair, that we can all be happy about and agree with and understand it. You know, respect is very easy, and sometimes just refraining from saying or doing something could save a whole lot of issues and a whole lot of grief from you know, maybe not even on purpose. So I'm excited about us coming to like a communications policy that respects the entire board in Marlene's role as a town administrator. So that I agree with. I love your ideas on the cultural district, right? And the seal. You know, I know the seal is going to be a big endeavor. And that's why I, you know, as a Indigenous person, of course, I would love to see that happen. I know that we've had some conversations about it, but I'm not sure, does that really belong in our goals for the select board? You know, should we put that on there this year? Is it something we can handle and we can get done with all of the other things? I want to see it done yesterday, but I'm also want to make sure that we're not going to overload ourselves with goals that we can't do. So I want to make sure I note that. I love the idea. I love the cultural district, however that looks. And then the Windows 10, that's a really important to note. But again, you know, I know that we had last year on our goals, we did have, you know, the updates. Hold on, let me just go to my packet. And we did have it in there. I'm going to our goals from last year. And I know one of them was to, let's see, trying to find the language, for the website.
Town's website.
Town's website,
that's
right?
the online service.
Right,
Yeah.
that was one of our goals last year, and I think we met that. That's, you know, it's in progress. I know it's almost completed, except that we're just migrating into the other system, right, Marlene, with that? We're
It's in
close.
progress.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've done a lot of work there. So, I mean, I think again, that Windows 10 is sort of part of that. I mean, I know it was last year's goals, but I mean, IT has to be done through our administration anyhow. I mean, if we're going to outlive our infrastructure for if they're going to, the software is going to expire and it's no longer be usable, we're going to have to do that anyhow. So I don't know if that's a goal we need this year, but I agree, that's a big deal if it's ending this year.
October.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we have
had
the
to
same
check-
problem at the office.
Right.
My
I
computer.
had to change
Yeah.
my laptop for Mass Mutual by February.
Yeah.
They
Well,
were
it
like,
might
we're
be.
not taking the
Right.
last minute
So it
things.
might be
Right.
something we need to
Right.
talk to the administrator. I'd love to hear some of her thoughts on where that is or how that's going to affect us maybe before I'd want to add it as like a goal, I guess. But I mean, what else? Wastewater, capital planning, the marijuana, the cannabis, again, I feel like that's already in process. We're already kind of doing that.
Just communicating with the state. was
Yeah, and the
another thing.
state, that's a
That's
great idea.
self-reporting,
You know,
yeah.
self-reporting,
Yeah.
trying to get, that is important with all the projects that we have coming upon us. And there's a lot of questions from the public and there's a lot of indecision and a lot of worry, I feel like. And there are some folks that are going to lose their homes, so we really do want to be sensitive to that.
Well, there's
I agree.
also going to be impact on our first
And
responders with
first
the
responders, I
construction
mean, it's
and
everything, right? The traffic,
everything,
the
so
police,
we
the
have to
fire department, the
see how it hits
neighborhood,
our bottom
the
line.
people that live there, so.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. All right. So, I think we've all put forth kind of where we're at. Now it's a matter of choosing how many, right? I mean, I think we had a lot of goals last year that we kind of landed on the town administrator. So I don't know, what did we agree on, like 3 that we needed to pick or 4 specifically? How do we want to do this?
Well, I think you did a good job narrowing it down. You just took capital planning, wastewater, and communication policy.
That's 3.
And
see?
if we're good, and we can,
Yeah, and things like capital, I agree 100% with Mary Jane with respects to like the long-term planning, the funding, and that impact. And we need everyone to have an understanding of that and what that looks like, because it's a living document. And that way, the town administrator, when we're making decisions about what we're tackling, she has some definitive direction with respects to, the budget process too.
So, in our strategic plan, strategic initiative number 5 is initiate and support economic development efforts that leverage the town's unique characteristics to create, attract, and retain jobs and businesses and ensure a diverse local economy. And that kind of was where I see your cultural district fit in.
yes.
So last year, for a goal for that strategic initiative, we had the marijuana. That was the goal that we had that was related to that strategic initiative.
Yep.
So we are supposed to frame our goals in terms of the strategic initiative. So, and we picked, I think there's 8 initiatives in our strategic initiatives,
Yeah. Yeah.
which are a lot.
And we don't
picked-
hit all 8.
We picked
for goals,
4.
But we hit 4.
We picked 4.
We did.
And we could probably focus on the same 4, the operate as a best
Best
practice,
practice.
customer-focused and engaging government. That's where your communication,
Communication
that's where your
Yeah.
communication comes in.
I actually put that next to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
Wastewater is 7, strategic 7.
Yeah, development
yes.
practices, yeah, environmental stewardship. is
Capital is
right.
8.
Yeah,
yeah,
develop and maintain our physical infrastructure.
Communication is
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
Marijuana, like I said, I think those wheels are in motion. I don't think
so,
to complete it.
I mean, and it says that we completed it. We completed the procedures. We
Right.
kind of did our HCA's.
Right.
They're still in process. So one of the things I was thinking of, and there is progress going on the HCA's that we did. We just need to make sure that we periodically follow up. When we say that you have 6 months, somehow we need a tracking system to know that this is a goal that we're tracking. And this is why I like to keep it on the radar somehow.
Oh,
that
I agree.
That there's something that and we don't have tasks with our goals. Like, under capital planning, one of the tasks is getting the police station roof done.
Yes.
One of the tasks is having the five-year
long-term
plan be
funding.
complete, so we know what's actually on the five-year plan, and there's numbers associated with it, and there's a debt management plan associated with it. Those are different tasks under that.
Right.
Under that thing. And what we haven't done in the past is really focused on those measurable tasks so that we say this is when it's done. So it might not be 6 goals, but there might be 3 or 4 goals, but there are tasks
sub-goals.
underneath.
Yeah.
That we say, this is the tasks that we're gonna wanna check off and say, we completed this, so that we can feel good about something we completed. And the
Right.
town can feel something about something we completed. And we can have something to actually measure that we're making progress.
Yeah.
A lot of
and
them
that's-
were
and-
multi-year as well. That's
And
important.
that's why when I reference like the wastewater planning, we should have, like, what can we do this year
Right.
relative to wastewater planning?
Right.
What do we need to do this year relative to wastewater planning? What do we need to do this year with capital? And I agree, like, the long-term planning, funding management, and debt, outlining that is, and then under the police station, you know, those are things we can do this year. And because of that, I think it'll drive the agendas and being able to stay on task with it. And that's our checks and balance, right? Where we say, okay, this is our goal. Where are we at in achieving that goal? What's the next decision we need to make? And we have that through our agendas. Like, maybe that's a standing, though our goals, maybe they're standing agenda items. And we say, okay, capital plan priority has been a goal. You know, underneath it is the police station roof. Where are we at with it? Are we meeting that, you know, or,
Pick one goal a month, a meeting. Not try to do all of them, but say, this meeting, we're gonna talk about wastewater, or this meeting, we're gonna talk about capital,
right,
whatever. That's a kind of agenda.
Or we
and that will
can,
help, I think that will help us keep track. That's our tracking, right?
and if we discuss objectives under the goals, we can use that as a way to touch back
Right.
with our goals overall. If we
And-
don't want to have it as a regular standing agenda item, but
Right.
we'll be
Right.
discussing things and objectives, and then we can say, let's circle back and see how we're doing on this, and can we move on? Can we add something?
And maybe, and maybe on our, like, agenda setting, agendas, when we have, like, or maybe just have our goals on the agenda, you know, down below.
As part of the
Like,
packet?
vision, mission,
Yeah.
like, these are our
Right.
goals, as part, like, these are our goals, so.
Well, I think wasn't that part of reading the vision and the mission is to keep staying in touch with
Right.
all that. So that's definitely
Right.
something that we could consider. It's work, it's extra paper, and but no, we definitely need to talk about this more often.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so where do we go from here?
All right, so let's,
We just need to kind of give Marlene her.
I mean, do we want to
Do we wanna
continue
go
with
over-
saying, okay, capital, like, do
I
we
think
all
I'd
agree
like
that
some
the
feedback
long-term?
on our discussion from
Yeah,
the
well,
town
that's what I was gonna
administrator.
say, yes. I was gonna say, I'd really like to hear from Marlene next, before
Yeah,
we
can't just do
continue.
this in a
uh,
vacuum.
Now that we've all, said all that.
No, I think if your 3 areas that you want to focus on are capital planning and wastewater planning and communication policy, that makes perfect sense. I think you, as a board, have to start talking about how you define those and how you would determine what those mean as far as what are you going to do? What are we going to do? So,
Right.
These are supposed to be annual. They're annual goals voted by the
Yes.
select board. So I think you need to talk about what you would like to see over between now and really the next election, right? So what would you like to see happen in these 3 areas between now and the May election?
Right. that something we'd rejoin and discuss at a different workshop? Or
No, you should do it now.
Now,
You
okay.
you have to, technically by the charter, you
yeah, 'cause
need
we have
to,
to-
Yeah,
by September
have you
1st.
voted?
Alright,
By
the
September 1st.
annual goal statements. So what you want to achieve.
So let's do capital first. I think that
Yes.
might be
Yeah.
one that, so that attaches to strategic initiative 8. And MJ, do you want to reiterate your
Well,
vision of the 5-year plan?
The goal for me, is that for the annual town meeting in May, when the FY '27 capital plan is presented, we'll have, I want to say, a solid capital plan that's a 5-year plan where we've really had discussions about the projects that are on the plan, why they're the priority projects, how much they're going to cost, and how we're going to pay for them. So it's having a 5-year capital plan with estimated costs for all projects on the plan, and prioritization and explanations for the need of all the projects, which we do that a lot in depth for our current year plan, but we don't really do any kind of rating for the 5-year plan. It's why is this on the 5-year plan and this isn't on the 5-year plan? How are we prioritizing those things? And when I, back in 2009, we actually had a management group come in and analyze our facilities and talk about the long-term plans and prioritize what facilities needed to be upgraded. And it was in kind of a 5 to 10 year plan, but we're still working on that plan. I mean, we haven't done the library, we haven't done, we did do some things, like we moved the headquarters from Buzzards Bay to Sagamore for the fire station. So now our headquarters is no longer in, a floodplain.
The intermediate school was on there, right? Or Peebles was on there at the
The
time, wasn't it?
People's was sort of on there, but that was kind of so the police station, Southside Fire Station, the library, I mean, we've been kind of, but we created a plan that said we prioritize, this is why we've prioritized these things, and we had a way to kind of go about doing it. And I think we need to reevaluate like where we are, because we have a lot of things in the capital plan. The Buzzards Bay Fire Station's there with a TBD, and why should that be in the 3rd year of the plan, or is that really what we're doing?
What's realistic?
I mean, or
And
is that we
right.
kind of created a list that says these are the things in the 5-year plan, and these are the things that we can't get on the 5-year plan, but they still have to be done. And I really want to feel solid about what we're doing so that we are able to manage the projects. I mean, if we have major projects up Southside Fire Station, library, ISWIM building, police station roof, that when you've got all those things going on, that's a tremendous amount of time. And can we do it? Can we afford it? What's going to happen with our bond rating when we add $100 million to our debt? These are things that we have to plan for, and I want to really have a solid 5-year plan, and I want it to have depth and not be like, oh, well, it's just a 5-year plan and we just move it around whenever. I don't think that's a good planning
My
tool.
question, to Marlene is though, is for 1 year of goals, is that even doable? How can we come up with a 5? I mean, yeah. So does that seem yeah,
No, all of that will not be in place for the May town meeting.
absolutely not.
So, and I mean, until but the select board can start carving out time the select board needs to set the priorities.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the select board needs to decide what building goes before what building. Because every department head thinks their building's the most important building.
Of course. Right.
And I think we have to have, prioritizing and the reasons why. I think that's what you're trying to get at, Mary Jane.
It really is, because if.
These are the priorities because.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not
this
asking
is
for
the
the
reason
depth of.
No,
of-
no.
But I want something, like, if we're saying the ISOM's 25 million and the library's 30 million and the Buzzards Bay Fire Station's another, 25 million, well, how are we gonna do this and manage it? And, not, because if we don't have a plan, it gets too complex. So I think it's important, and whether it's the capital outlay committee that does that, whether it's a building facilities committee that looks at all the buildings and does it, whether we hire a consultant to say, let's do another review of our facilities and see where we are now in terms of need and, what strategies can be done. Because in the Cecil report, they said, for the Buzzards Bay Fire Station, you should put some money into it and let it, do the other one, do Southside first. And so we did. We
Yeah, I remember
put money into rehabbing the interior, the facility, the locker rooms and that kind of stuff. We put a new roof on it. We've done other work on it so that but when you set your priorities in capital, that's when you know that, we're not gonna get to the library for, 5 years. So we do have to fix the roof, or we do have to do this. And if you don't set those priorities, you can't do the good medium planning, so.
Okay. All right, so capital project planning, okay, so we can move on to wastewater planning.
Well,
Do you think?
I think the police station also needs to be on a
I
capital.
was
So
gonna
under
say
that,
that's
so some of the
something we can do.
objectives would be the police
Yes.
department roof and the Windows 10, because that's.
No,
those
we
are
already,
two-
I thought we
those
already
are
discussed
objectives.
that
Yeah.
those were part of that. We
Those
already
are,
said
so
that.
under that capital, we have this,
Yes.
doing this, but we also have some other capital planning objectives,
course.
which are.
That's something we can definitely
Yeah.
try and.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the police station roof, should we be as specific as saying securing a building committee and OPM
Those are the tasks that, when you're going through the next year, those are the tasks that you need to make sure you set aside time
Right.
correct.
on
So-
your agendas to take care of.
Right,
Yes.
so I'm just saying, is it
Yeah.
enough to say for the goal, replacement of the police station roof? Or should we be more specific in saying,
I think we need to be more specific in
In
terms
saying-
of gaining funding at the special town meeting in the fall.
right,
And then.
And then-
And then completing the capital project for the roof replacement. Now, I don't think we have to go too detailed into
That's what I'm
the
asking.
many things of setting up a building committee. or
Right, 'cause
like
that
all
naturally will
I think we're
happen.
gonna get the funding
I
and
need
we
to
gotta
do it.
complete the project.
Right.
Yeah.
right, okay.
And hopefully get the reimbursement.
So under
but-
police station roof
Yeah,
replacement, secure funding, and complete replacement.
yeah. And repair. Replace.
At least the wheels would be in motion. I don't expect the roof to be done by May,
It won't.
No,
June 30th.
The other thing with that you're not talking about is the enormous amount of work that is going to go into preparing the discovery and litigation work.
Yes.
Like the lawsuit has been filed. We just received the interrogatories. We just received the first round of discovery requests.
Wow.
This is going to be essentially,
It's huge.
this year, you're focused on the capital side of the police station roof. There's another
Yeah.
entire
Right.
full-time project on the litigation side for that.
Okay.
All right.
and I actually think that should be under there. That, I don't know how you put that as part of the goal, but it's,
It's work that's being done.
It's, you know,
That's-
manage, you
that's-
know, like,
That's in motion, though.
you know,
is in motion.
however, we're working on the reimbursement for the, whatever, it's that litigation, you know.
It's in motion, but there has to be an acknowledgement of this year.
Right.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
year, like, that is going to be an enormous load on the time, like,
Yeah.
the time. So if we break this down to time, you know, if
The only
there's.
goal we can have.
That's why I was kind of like, all right, let's move on.
You know, if we break this down to you have 2,000 hours to spend for the year,
Yeah.
So for police station roof replacement, I think it's more, is it more
Right.
realistic to say secure funding?
no,
For
I think.
police station.
I think the realistic goal between now and May, remember, we're time limited.
Yeah,
Like it's a year goal, actually. It's the annual goal, so even though they go until the next September. It's not just till the election.
But even so,
Yeah.
I mean,
Go
For
ahead,
all
Molly.
intents and
Go ahead.
purposes, yeah.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, the board could change, and, I mean,
yeah.
the board changed, and we did not accomplish much this summer. So, and the board didn't change, and we didn't accomplish much this summer. So, you know, this is an annual goal, and if we're going to be realistic about what we can accomplish, in my opinion, your goal is to secure funding, hire a designer, hire an OPM, and
Building committee.
at least get the project designed and out to bid
Okay,
in this year.
thank you.
And simultaneously, make sure that everything stays on track for the litigation. I don't think it's realistic to get beyond bidding. But I think Jean's point is very important with the role of the article sponsors. Because there is an entire finance committee that is saying the equivalent of 5 words at town meeting. And I'm not knocking their work, but it is the role, we have different roles. The town administrator has different roles, the select board has different roles, the finance committee has different roles. It is not the town administrator's role, and it's in the charter, it's not the town administrator's role to advocate and to tell town meeting how to vote. It's the finance committee's role to tell town meeting how to vote. The town administrator and the staff our role is to convince the finance committee and convince the select board to make positive motions and positive recommendations. And then the select board, and really the finance committee is missing at town meeting. The finance committee has to be the group that explains to town meeting why this is important. That's why myself and Erica and the department heads spend dozens and dozens and dozens of hours going to finance committee meetings.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
That is a missing piece that I don't understand, first of all, but this is a missing piece that is having a real impact on us. Because I don't understand why I'm investing, for an annual town meeting, why I'm investing 50 to 100 staff hours going to finance committee meetings if they are not explaining to the body why
Right.
these are important.
Right.
Because that's not my
and they're
role
all-
at town
and they're
meeting.
all-
My
they're-
role is to
Right.
explain to the finance committee.
And those Monday night meetings are long. And then,
I'm not complaining about the work.
No, but
It's that
that's-
I have a different role.
right,
My role is not to stand up in town meeting and tell people how to vote. My
Right.
role is to stand up and answer factual questions.
right.
those are different roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am not supposed to advocate.
So how do we reverse it?
We have a joint meeting?
Well, so I do feel strong. I do totally agree with Marlene and what she's saying. I mean, I feel the Finance Committee has abdicated their responsibility to the town meeting.
Yeah.
I was not in favor of the change of the select board making the motions.
Me either.
I feel that the check and balance of town meeting for the Finance Committee to make the motions is that the select board puts the articles on the town meeting. We have to put those articles on. That is, we are saying,
Yep.
by putting an article,
Yep.
that this is something we want town meeting to discuss. It is the role of the Finance Committee to then make recommendations to town meeting on how they should vote. And before, when the Finance Committee made the motions,
Yep.
they would make a positive motion,
Yep.
or if they didn't support it, they would not make a positive motion. And that in itself is a signal to town meeting that the Finance Committee is not on board with this.
And they're the checks and balance.
Right.
That is their role.
That's, I mean, it's the
That is
sole
their
purpose.
So,
I feel like
and-
everyone just spins around and looks back at us, and we haven't spent those hours discussing.
So we did have a
thing,
long
yeah.
period of time in which the select board actually spent a lot of time going to Finance Committee meetings so that the staff was only presenting one time. So we weren't asking department heads to come and go to the select board and make a presentation, and then go to the Finance Committee and make a presentation.
Right.
And that system has its pluses and minuses. Not all select board members would come to the Finance Committee, and then sometimes the Finance Committee wanted to be able to sort of deliberate themselves, but it was the focus, there was good communication because both committees were hearing the same thing. We were both hearing from the department heads the same message. So in a way, it was good. It was done to relieve the department heads from a lot of work. But the Finance Committee did not want the role. It was the Finance Committee that brought up this change in having the select board make the motions. And they used Yarmouth as an example, and Yarmouth actually kind of operates their town meeting the way we've been operating it. And I'm not in favor of it. I don't know if it is actually something that we should address in the charter.
I'm thinking that exact thought.
Yeah.
That it's something we should address in
Well,
the section of the charter that relates to town meeting.
Right.
And when we, the warrant and the whole 50 days or whatever.
Right. So what our
and
role
invest
is,
in
the
there.
warrant, and their role is advising town meeting. And that
Yes.
should include explaining the articles, and they didn't want to explain the articles. But it's a lot of work to explain the articles. And now they've gone down from 14 people to 9 or 7, I think. There's only 7 people appointed now, so I don't know.
All right, well, we gotta.
Yeah, I think there's
going here.
room in the charter to fix that.
is
But
that-
what if,
Marlene, do you
I
think
mean,
that's the- that's
the other thing too is, that's gonna take a while.
Yeah,
So
that's time.
I think we as a board should perhaps reach out to Finance Committee, have a joint meeting,
Yeah.
have a one agenda item, and that's town meeting, and.
do we include the moderator?
I would say.
I would
ye-
include the
I would say yes,
moderator.
and we haven't done a debrief after town meeting in a while. And we
Correct.
used to
Yeah.
kind of
Correct.
do them with,
Yep.
and say what went well, what didn't go well.
So we could
Yeah,
say
yeah.
town debrief.
And then,
or-
so then, if it goes the way we would like it to go and the shift goes back to how it should be and their responsibilities, then I think maybe at the charter time, we could codify it in the charter, the language in the charter. But I think we should start now. I think it's something that
Yes.
Okay,
should happen.
all right. Moving
Okay.
on, so we have, police
Yep.
station roof.
So I guess, can can you please recap what the annual, do you have, I guess, is there an annual goal statement?
For what?
Regarding,
For any, is there a motion yet for any annual goal statements?
How about the one we just did, capital? Are we ready to make a motion?
Yes, why don't we do that? 'Cause
Well,
Or should, yeah.
do you want to keep talking about the rest of them first and motion all three?
I don't
or-
think we should vote these today. I mean, I know it says September 1st, but September 1st is a holiday, and we're meeting on September 2nd, so we could vote. We could draft, I think we should try to draft something up, and then have it before us so that we kind of know what we're voting. I would feel very uncomfortable voting the goals today. I mean, I think we should draft them out, like, this is what our draft is, and then,
Do you think that allows enough time, Marlene, or are you skeptical?
I
on that?
don't think either September, I mean,
We get a lot already on September's
I don't think you
agenda.
can do this on September 2nd
Yeah.
or 9th. You know what those agendas look like. I don't really, you're the select board, so if you don't want to, if you want to delay it, that's fine. But I think we need to get actual language.
Why don't
Yeah.
we just work on the ones
Okay.
we have, yeah,
All
because
right.
we've got some time. So we said capital project planning, and the language was to secure funding, hire a designer, hire OPM,
And get the,
design, and get
Out
the
to
bid
bid.
out simultaneously,
and make sure,
and be on track for the litigation.
and
Yeah.
monitor litigation.
well, this is for the police station
Yes.
roof.
Right.
this is
Is the
under the,
HVAC and the other issue, are we still working on the HVAC and that?
There's nothing I can do about that until the roof is done.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
but that's already in motion. It's already been voted yes.
It's all, it's part of the litigation, but there's nothing
Part
I
of the
can
litigation,
do
right.
with the system until the roof is
If we,
done.
if we monitor the
So the
litigation, we'll get
goal is
updates on.
capital
Yeah.
planning and slash
Yeah.
priorities.
So, yeah, yeah.
And then these are the,
I'm
the
just
two
doing my
tasks.
under two, yes.
Yeah, the two tasks.
Yes, I am very
So-
aware. Roof replacement.
so we have capital planning priorities, right?
Yes.
One is the police department roof.
Correct. And the
Okay.
other is the actual 5-year
It's the
capital
5-year capital plan.
prioritizing.
I think if we just say 5-year capital plan
How about
and,
an,
how about 5-year capital
how about an
plan?
in-depth study of the 5-year capital plan? Or just put 5-year capital plan on it? That's,
A little vague, right?
what specifically do you think we can
5-year
get done?
capital plan, prioritization, and debt management projections.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Is there, like, maybe state begin identifying priorities or, assign
Well, I think if we're gonna do a management projection, we
within a
probably
year,
have to.
though? We're still
we
thinking
have
within a
to do
year
priority.
time, right?
Oh,
You know,
yeah, those two things. I
Okay.
mean, we'll work towards it. Right?
I think this is something that you can set as a goal. I think you're going to have to set aside a lot of time to actually operationalize it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We can't do that right now. Like,
Right.
I don't know what that means.
Right, right.
That is something that has to be developed and really developed and talked about
Right.
as to what the expectation is that is.
If we identify a building committee to work with the police station roof, perhaps it's part of the purview of a building committee to also.
The first one is fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Securing funding,
But-
hiring a designer, OPM, those are
Yeah.
clear tasks that can happen over the course of the year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What about Windows 10?
You think
Do you have
that's
a plan
oper-
for Windows 10, or is it just gonna hang in there?
So I cannot say that I'm worried about this.
Okay.
I certainly don't think it rises to a level of a select board goal.
Well, that's what I was thinking, yeah.
Something that has to be done,
It's administrative.
Right.
In my opinion, right?
It's not a goal, it just has to
Yeah.
be done.
I mean, I've heard that there's a
'Cause it's been-
concern. I will reach out to IT, but
Yeah,
this
that's-
is not on my radar at all. IT has raised no issue for us.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I thought, because I hadn't even heard of it, and I'm an IT person. So
I
I was
gotta
like,
put in
really?
my, I'll
That's
just put in
new.
my, I gotta put in a ticket.
Till 11 or something.
Okay.
All right,
So, wastewater,
wastewater
ready
plan.
to move on?
This is a biggie.
Yeah, for the, starting with the 2 watershed permits, you know, define the project and the scope of work, identify a team of consultants,
Yeah.
and discontinue the CWMP until we get the permits approved, and then we need to work with what we've got for now, but
I think we have to make a decision on the report and in our responses to the comments. And until we discuss our responses to the comments, or if we're just gonna leave it, we cook our comments and leave it as we're gonna decide this all later. But I think that is a question that we have to discuss as a board, finalizing the report. And whether the finalizing a report, accepting the draft comments, that it's gonna be the select board's gonna discuss that later. I mean, if that's the response of the select board, that's the response of the select board. But at some point, you're gonna have to make a decision.
I think we need to concentrate on the watershed permits and all of the work that needs to be done with that. I mean, the CWMP, we've all agreed that it wasn't accepted. We've got a lot more work to do before we go back to it.
if
And,
there's
like,
edits
put more
that
time
Helen
on
can
it,
do,
spend
just to do
precious
some
time on-
edits.
I
And,
just don't see it myself.
but I don't,
So I just have to, there's been a couple people that said that the CWMP was rejected. And there's nothing in the certificate that we received from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that said it was rejected. It was not rejected. The request that we made was there would be a single EIR. And during that comment period, DEP makes the decision whether or not they will accept a single EIR or whether they're going to require a draft EIR and an EIR. And that was the decision that they made. And they made that decision because there were comments from DEP, from the Cape Cod Commission, from APCC, and from Buzzards Bay Coalition,
Right.
that the plan that we presented for using general use IA systems was not going to achieve the TMDL. And so therefore, we had to do more analysis to show that that's what it was. And so in the comments that were received from all those people, that our plan was not going to work. So are we reconsidering our plan, or are we just saying, well, thanks for the comments, we're just going to go ahead with the plan that doesn't work?
But
We have not discussed the comments. We have not, as a board,
I know.
discussed the comments that we received in the comment period.
correct.
I don't
So-
know as if it's a priority, though. I think we filed the NOI as, you know, we were encouraged and we decided to do as a board. I think we need to have the town administrator working on those things instead of going back to this report. I just don't know why we would need to do that now when we're trying to get past this and figure out our goals for this year that we can accomplish. So to me, it just seems, I just don't see it myself. I just can't.
I don't think, I get it. I think we
get
should
it, but
incorporate through this next stage, the knowledge that we have through, you know, I don't think that we need to like get it down on paper, have this final report that the state doesn't like. Right? I think, is what you're concerned about, Mary Jane, is we're not acknowledging people's comments and trying to incorporate them into solving our wastewater management
if we're gonna do watershed permits,
Yeah.
what is our first choice recommended plan for watershed permits? For the, how are we going to address the water quality issues in the nitrogen sensitive areas?
That would be for the experts to tell us. Go ahead, Marlene.
That's actually what I would recommend, is that until you have a team of engineers, we at this table cannot make that decision.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're not gonna be able to have a real scientific discussion based on the comments on something that we're kind of changing lanes on, and we can have a fruitful discussion with a team that can help us go forward. And you can certainly reflect back on any comments made, but anything going forward is gonna be different too, so, it's frustrating indeed, you know, but we're not really ignoring the comments, or we're not,
I can understand how you want closure on it.
It's not closure. So Marlene we had a meeting, and I think it was at the 28th meeting, or maybe it was the meeting in June, where Marlene said, you know, we have to hire consultants. And if you're gonna do e-sewering, you hire a different kind of consultant than if you're gonna do IA systems. I think it's a very simple question. Are we still convinced as a board that IA systems are the direction that we should be going in? Or are we gonna start this all over again from scratch? Are we going in that direction, or are we not going in that direction? If we're doing watershed permits, are we gonna do watershed permits with a solution that we have control of? I mean, I'm not, after the comments and after reading DEP and after seeing what's in there, I'm not in favor of using IA systems as our primary technology now, as the way we should just handle it.
I think another thing we have to be very cognizant of is the conflict of interest of the people that live in those systems that are on this board as well that we haven't talked about. I mean, we've got a lot more to talk about than just whether we're gonna do IA or whether we've got a lot on our plate right now. And I feel like going back to this report, I just don't see the comments. I mean, half the comments I couldn't even answer if I had to. They should have been answered by an expert, somebody who understands fully this technology that I'm not an expert on. I mean, I'm not qualified to answer those questions, some of them. Some of them were simple and I could answer, but a lot of them were very technical and involved an expert, somebody way, way more experienced than I. I mean, I don't think I have the authority to answer those, or should I be, in my opinion. So, I don't know. It's a lot we've got to do here. This is a very, very sticky situation we're in, and we've got to think about it very carefully.
So I guess the first thing is to identify next steps
Right.
and a course of action.
So we did file the 2 watershed permits, and I think Jean was actually finished,
Scope.
maybe. Why don't you finish where you were going?
Define the project.
Yes.
find the project, yeah, the scope of the work, hire a team of consultants, and discuss discontinuing the CWMP until permits have been approved, or just stated as such.
So,
So
I
how-
just want to make sure I heard that right.
Sure. How do we, yeah,
Two watershed permits, so essentially the
the
goal
TMD.
statement, the draft goal statement, pursue 2 watershed permits, define the project and scope of work, hire consultants, discontinue the CWMP until the permits are approved. Is
Yeah.
that what you said?
That's, yeah, that's
Okay.
right off my nose.
Because if I'm not mistaken, that does involve quite a bit of work to complete.
Yeah, that's probably doable within a year.
And I think when we define the project and consult with these people, we will have this
Yes.
conversation you're talking about, MJ. I really, honestly, I think we do. And I don't think we have to I think the knowledge we have, based on all the comments, based on where the draft CWMP is, based on the recommendations from the state, all of that information is valuable to when it's decision-making time and the engineers and consultants can, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna take all that information, read it and reread
Right.
it, and
They'll pull it apart.
then it's gonna be decision-making time.
Mm.
Right?
And then we may be forced to look at those comments, right? Because,
Well, then we will, yeah, I mean, we've all looked at
And
them.
there will be more comments.
I don't think we should, I don't think we should
More
include
comments.
discontinue the work on the CWMP in the goal. I think if you want to identify your next steps, start working on the watershed permits, hire, define the scope of the work, that's fine. You just don't, if you don't want to work on the CWMP, if you don't want to look at the comments, maybe it's going to become necessary. And so then
Okay.
you're going to change your goal to work on it. I mean,
well, we could.
you don't have to, you don't
to.
have to state discontinue the work in order to discontinue the work. I think it's a mistake, and I'll vote against the goal, so, if you include it.
Do we need to include that then? I don't feel that's attached to it.
Should we include? I mean, for
Yeah,
clarity?
I get what you're saying. I mean, to say discontinue it and, yeah,
Okay. So we can eliminate that part.
you can eliminate discontinuing, but,
Is it necessary to eliminate it? I mean.
Or,
no, we're just, our focus is going to
Right.
be on the
On
two
the two
watershed permits.
So, yeah.
All right, so focus on pursuing 2 watershed permits. Define the project and scope of work, hire consultants.
mhm.
Okay, is that better? So are we voting on each of these? Okay, no, never mind, keep going.
So, we're down to
Is that the only
communication?
Yep, communication.
Communication.
Boy, how does this look? So this would be policy subcommittee that would work on this, correct? Or would it be something we would work on in a workshop as a select board as one? Yes.
I
Okay.
think, yeah, I think we should work on it as a whole,
Together. Yeah,
together.
I agree.
Do we need someone to navigate that for us? I don't know. What's your opinion of that?
I was
To help
wondering
us navigate?
if there's any sort of support on that, or would it be something where we used like Neptune or someone like that, or would it be something more advanced where we would have somebody who's more, like, would it be something almost that we have Brian Bertram in the legal, because we do need to make sure everything we're doing is actually doesn't violate anybody's freedom of speech, or, so I guess it would go back to them anyhow, but
For
I just don't
review.
know, for review, but it sounds like it's sort of, the policy language, we're gonna have to just maybe look at other communities.
Well, is it just policy? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think the idea is just communication policy. I think it's
All together, right?
it's communication somehow. I mean, I think,
And so communication amongst each other, or the expectation of how we communicate to the public?
Social media is part of it.
How we communicate
yeah.
with Marlene? What, communication's very broad.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, if we develop
What-
communication guidelines for the select board members,
Right, yep.
then that would include communicating between each other and how we agree to present information to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Working with town administrator.
Social media and respect for one another, I guess. I don't know how that looks.
Then there's, then underneath there's starting small, picking platforms.
Certain,
Certain, deciding on which platform.
or maybe maybe a more broad social media policy, I
That's
guess.
when we get into actually discussing the policy.
Sure. I haven't looked in any other towns recently.
Well, we worked on the communication policy. That was like public, like
Correspondence.
correspondence.
Yeah.
Correspondence,
Yes, I
yeah.
remember that, that's right.
This is, yeah.
Right?
Is that enough?
Is that enough, you think?
Social media, what were
Yeah.
the?
It's
I don't
press,
think I
a
got them all. The
press,
press, yeah.
press policy.
Hmm.
I mean, with school committee, it was the chair. you know, it was deferred to the chair. Like, if you weren't the chair and you got approached, that's how, you know, and everybody did, and they say, we deferred to the chair.
So that would be part of the
Call the
policy
chair. That's
development.
just-
yeah.
See that. And in many cases, I think, you know, a lot of the situations actually, you know, require the chair to say, you know, that's not a decision I can make alone. So I can't really answer that.
And
That's
then-
sort of what I say, if it's not something I think we should all be speaking on. So that's
Right.
how I handle it when I get a
I
call.
mean, the press, I mean, they quote us all the time during
Right.
public meetings. But if it's something specific that the press is reaching out for additional information, we've always deferred it to the chair.
So what is the goal? What are you trying to achieve with this? What are you trying to achieve with having a communication strategy or policy, or what is it?
Communication.
Just better communication
Right.
between
We
select board
want to
members.
enhance
Or
communication, better
enhance communication, right.
between the
future agenda
board,
items.
between the public, with the
Right.
press.
All the above.
So how do you, how do we talk about enhancing communication and communication strategies? I think we don't have good vehicle, and I didn't see that webinar today, so I don't know. I think that there are good ways to communicate, and I think it's important to have good communication. I think there's a lot of times when you just have to bite your tongue and not say anything when you accuse the select board of a lot of things. It's better to say nothing than to engage. But I also think that there are times when it's good to respond factually so that things don't get out of hand. So I don't know the best way to do things. And it'll be helpful. The website needs improvement, and I don't know, once it's on this new platform, whether that will solve problems with the website, or whether it'll be something that we want to look at as something that still needs to be enhanced. Because it can be very difficult to find information on our website.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, the click, you know, I think it was something at the, you know, if you want to get the public to get engaged, you don't want to have 6 clicks before they can get to
They
the
said
piece
no
of
more than 2
information.
clicks to get an agenda, which, you know, I'm trying to think, there's so many. That would be a small number of websites, I would think, in towns where you literally only had 2 clicks to pull up. You know, I can see click meeting, click agenda, you know, anyway, that was their guideline for
Yeah, there are
attention
there
span
are
and
some
that
pretty
sort of thing.
slick
Yeah.
things where you go to,
Ours is only 3.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's only
Click on the
3.
calendar, click on the meeting, and you get the agenda, if you want to see it.
It'll be interesting to see what the new template would look like, because the calendar, like yesterday, for example, that
Oh,
little
it
box.
just- Yeah,
you know,
it's on
all
a rare
this
occasion
stuff.
that many meetings
Yeah,
fall
yeah,
on
yeah.
one day.
But anyway, I think back to the communication guidelines, I speaking about amongst select board members, you know, when do we go on social media and make statement? Who is the one, you know, these kinds of things that we were struggling with this last year. I think if we have policy guidelines, then there's less finger pointing and less,
Like, you know,
stuff
do
like
you
that.
create your own page to post things on, rather than utilizing the town pages where
Well,
things can
just
get
like
into the
who-
weeds, you know, things
when
like
is the
that.
appropriate time to
Right.
share information?
Yeah.
You know, is there a guideline for before there's a comment made on Facebook? Is there a way to check amongst members? You know, just we need to talk about this stuff. It's
All right, so do we think we have them all? We only got about 7 minutes, and I have a hard stop at 4:30 because I have a 5
Oh,
PM.
you said you had a 5,
that I'm
yeah.
moderating.
so I think we just need to somehow come up with some global statement about communication, you know, improving and enhancing communication.
Yeah.
And we could have one thing under that, you know, town meeting, you know, because we talked about talking with the finance committee about town meeting, social media, and you can talk about the press, but I don't know if there's anything we really need to, yeah.
I think I'm
But,
well
I mean, I
prepared.
think if we talk about, you know, the website, town meeting, and social media, that kind of
All right,
covers it.
so do we need to
Yeah.
vote that or now, so that Marlene has a clear something by September 1st?
You should vote when you have clear goal statements that,
Do you want to wait and can get these together, or what are we gonna, is that there?
So is there anything we can vote on today?
2 out of 3 are.
Right. Well, 2 out of 3, we already have the goal state, right? We
Right.
already did. It's
Right.
just the communications one was the only one we didn't have.
so if you want, I can read what I have written back
Okay,
to you quickly, and you can decide
okay.
if you want to motion and vote on any of them. So number 1, I have secure funding, hire designer, OPM, and go out to bid for the police station roof and manage the litigation. Number 2 is 5-year capital plan prioritization and debt projections. Number 3, focus on pursuing 2 watershed permits, define the project and scope of work, hire consultants. Number 4, improve and enhance communications policy for select board members with each other, with the public, with TA, website, social media, press requests.
I think those were pretty defined.
Yeah.
Do you guys all, do you agree? You want to add anything, MJ? Do you have some
I
thoughts?
don't think we should add anything. I think we might want to vote these as our draft goals and then have an opportunity. We have a member who's not here today.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Let
And
Peter,
so
I was thinking
think
that
we
Peter
should-
can see
I
them.
think we should motion this as our draft goals and we're going to start operating on, and then we can finalize. We've done that before, too.
So, yeah, but we're going to have time in our April, we're going to have time at that next meeting to vote that, correct?
You're not going to be able to do this.
Why don't we just vote them now? I
September
mean, Peter
2nd.
knew we had the meeting, I don't know what are we gonna wait for? If we don't have time at the next agenda, how are we gonna get it on there? If there's no time, right? I mean, we probably should just vote it and be done with it. You okay with that? Okay, so do we have a motion to accept the goals as Marlene presented them?
As presented. So moved.
Okay, so.
Or you can take it, I'll second.
So we have a motion from
That's
Jean,
right.
a motion from Jean, and a second
Oh,
from
okay,
Anne Marie. Did I get that right? No?
Yeah,
That's
that's fine.
fine.
All right,
You owe me
any further discussion? All right, I'm gonna go around the room. Anne Marie?
Yes,
Jean?
Yes.
Peter is not here.
absent.
MJ?
Abstain.
Melissa, yes. Motion carries.
3-0-1.
That's what an abstention could be used for. Thank you.
Thank you.
What time is it? I'll share this with you. Oh, you know what? No,
Site?
we were recorded.
yeah.
We were recorded.
Adjourning
Kim
the
will-
meeting? Meeting
Kim will-
adjourned?
oh,
Or is
sorry.
there a workshop? Did we do that? Yeah.
Oh, that's right, we were live, weren't we?
Yes. Yep.
Kim will do the minutes.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
And I do have minutes from the, or I have the time and the start and stuff